She and New Moons. I am Josie the Mustang, the Afro-Latina Regina George of Witches, and you are aligned with the frequency of the Lua Nova podcast. And yes, I know how I sound. And my apologies for the sound quality this week, but I had to get this bonus recorded because I am excited. When you are excited, you need to stay in that vibration. And this is a very special announcement. It is something that I've been working on for a while. There's a lot that I've been working on for a while, so you're going to get more announcements in the future, I promise. But as the show grows, and it is growing rapidly, it's important for me to take this time to not only say thank you, muito obrigada, but also to bring you new things. We got to keep Lua Nova growing and growing and growing because it's not just a podcast, it's a brand. But enough of that. Let's actually talk about the announcement. Let's get started. I am re-recording the whole thing because I was not happy with how it sounded. I understand it's going to sound like this because I sound like this. But let's get right to the point. Lua Nova now has an official webpage. There used to be a website. It was awful. It wasn't what I wanted. So this webpage is perfect. It's streamlined and is very important. And you're going to hear the URL for this webpage at the end of every single episode from now on. Okay. So introducing to you the Lua Nova webpage, which is at Lua, Lua Nova.carrd.co. Again, that's Lua-Nova.carrd.co. You can find this link in every single episode of Lua Nova. I made sure of it. If one is missing, let me know what episode it's missing it on. But you can find the webpage link there. If you follow me on TikTok, and I know many of you already do, right there on my profile, you will see the link there. And also on the podcast bio, it is right there. But you're also going to hear it at the end of every single episode. And hopefully when my voice sounds better, it will be easier for me to say for you. But again, that's lua-nova.carrd.co. And the reason why this webpage is so important is that this is where everybody can contact me. If you're a company that wants to work with me, and if you just want to send in a question to the show, and I'm not talking about requesting readings, I'm talking about sending a question to the show because there are separate areas to do that. And with that comes this big announcement. I am now doing personal tarot readings. I wanted to make sure that I could weed out the people who are not serious, who were just wasting my time in my inbox. And so now you will get an automated email. That automated email has a form that is the Lua Nova consent form. It is also the form where you would tell me your questions, pick a tier that, you want for you, depending on your budget. And that is also where you set up your payment at. If I do not get that required form back, there is no reading. So that weeds out the people who are just trying to waste my time. I am not the one that you want to try. So for the people who are actually serious, your emails were getting lost with the people who definitely weren't serious. Okay. Who are trying to get free readings from me. That's not happening. So I do readings for you free every week right here. So speaking of free every week, I have decided there will not be a Patreon for now. I enjoy making sure that these episodes are free for you. I don't like the idea that some people would get free episodes and some people would get episodes that aren't free. I understand, well, Josie, that's the whole point of Patreon is people who want to pay for those episodes will. Yes, but in all of my episodes are always going to be good. So I'm not going to just give this tier over here because they paid money better episodes than those of you who are listening to the free ones. That doesn't make sense to me. So I was like, well, we'll use my Patreon for something else in the future. I'm not sure what. And honestly, I might never use it. But if you want to pay for anything, it would be my personal readings. Okay. So for now, that is the only thing that I'm offering in the paid section. Everything else is free. And speaking of, I have another free thing for you. All caps. This will always remain free. This will always remain free. I have created for you a Lua Nova manifestation worksheet. All caps. This is free. So when you go on the webpage, and again, you're going to hear that webpage link at the end of every episode, and it's in the show notes. you will see that there is an option to download this free worksheet. It's a Word document, so you can, download it. You can print it out, whatever works for you. I made it for the people who are newer to manifestation, newer to law of attraction, new to new age spirituality, and new to my show even. It's for everybody though. So if you are, a practitioner for the past 20 years, you can use it too. It's for everybody. It has, because I'm definitely using it because I'm one of those people who uses journal prompts anyway. So this is similar to that. Feel free to use these in your journal, these questions that are in there. But it was something that I worked on. It was a labor of love, as people like to say. I know that sounds corny, but it really was. And I wanted to make sure that I had that for you, and it will always remain free. I think it's so weird when people charge for something like that. I mean, that's them if that's what they want to do. But if I'm charging you for something, it is something that I think is going to take much more out of me, like a personal reading. The last reading that I did, that episode that was over an hour long, it took so much out of me and I immediately got so tired. And so that is why I charge for personal readings, is that is a lot of energy at once. Okay. And sometimes I need a break. And because of that, whenever you book a reading with me, you will have, you'll be sent a calendar where you're going to pick what day you're going to receive your reading. Okay. When you receive that reading, it will be in email format. And I wanted it in email format so that one, I could show you the cards, and two, you can always go back to that reading if you want. Okay. And that way, if in the future you're like, I want to book another reading with you, you could just reply back to that old email and we could start all over again. Okay. You'll get the same form. We'll start all over again. But remember, that form that you get, that is a required form. If I don't get that form back and it's not exactly to my specifications, because there's a lot of required areas on the form that you can't just skip, then there will be no reading. So this weeds out the people who are not serious. And my apologies to those of you who wanted to book a reading with me, and because of the people who weren't serious, you didn't get to. Now you do. Okay. Now you do. So I want to say a very special muito obrigada to all of you who tune in every single week. I see the audience growing across the world, especially in Latin America. You all, if you are new here, I am an Afro-Latina and a proud one. My background is half Brazilian and half Mexican. And if you are not familiar with what Afro-Latinos are, we are Black Latinos. And yes, we exist. All Black people are not from the same area. Okay. Yes, we may have all originated from Africa. And thank you to Africa, because quite a few of your countries tune into me. But what it means to me as an Afro-Latina who did not see anybody like me making a podcast like me, to see my audience grow, to get feedback that my readings are resonating with you, or that a technique that I taught you helped you, that is why I do it. I have talked to you many times about my great-grandmother who was indigenous and a practitioner, how she didn't get to do what I get to do. And that I wanted to keep that legacy going because nobody else in my family has done it. And so I was like, well, then I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to make it big. Not because I want to be some, podcast that makes millions of dollars. It's that, and that is awesome. And I'm definitely calling that in. It's that I want to reach so many people and help so many people so that you can have the quality of life that you deserve. When people say that, I wonder if they really mean it. And that's not to shade anybody who's ever said that besides me. It's that when I say that, I mean it from the heart. Okay, so I can't say thank you enough. Muito obrigada. For Portuguese to English means thank you very much. And I say it every single week because I actually mean it. And I say it in two languages because my two main languages are English and Portuguese. And for those of you who are like, well, you don't speak enough Portuguese. Well, because 98% of my audience, their first language is English. So because my podcast mainly airs in the United States. Okay, so whenever you have a second language, sometimes your second language is not as strong as your first. My strongest one is English. And yes, Spanish is technically my third language, so you will hear me say words in Spanish too. So if you're new here, there you go, the breakdown of the 3 languages that I speak. But again, muito obrigada, new moons. I will talk to you next week. If you would like to reach out to me, you can find me at lua-nova.carrd.co. Ciao.